What's this? While cleaning my husband's room, I found something unbelievable. It was a receipt from a pharmacy. The purchased item was a pregnancy test kit. What is this? I confronted my husband when he returned home. What's the meaning of this? I just bought it because an acquaintance asked me to. That's impossible. It was then. My daughter muttered as she held the receipt in her hand. I was so overwhelmed with confusion that I hadn't noticed her return. The very next moment, she said something unimaginable. Is it about Laura? She gazed intently at her father with a serious expression. Overwhelmed by her assertiveness, he responded with a slight nod. I used protection. I couldn't help it when she came on to me. My husband and my daughter's friend. Unable to comprehend the situation, my daughter finally spoke. Well, good for you, I guess. Faced with a series of unexpected truths, I couldn't contain my anger. This can't be. And thus my husband was on a one-way path to hell. I am Ivy White, a 49-year-old full-time housewife. I live with my husband Hans, who is the same age as me, and our daughter Grace, who turned 18 last month. That being said, I often find myself alone in this spacious house for extended periods. Today was no exception. I was by myself until after 8 p.m. Welcome home, Grace. You are late. I'm back. Were you with Laura again today? Yes, I was. Every day staying out this late? What are you two up to? Nothing much, just going to the arcade at the mall, hanging out at the food court. Nothing serious. I see. I already ate at the food court, so I'm gonna take a bath. Alright. Lately my daughter seemed a bit off. Had something happened? However, my reserved daughter hardly ever shares school stories with us at home. I'm sure she confides in her best friend Laura about these things. But Laura, I've always had my reservations about her. She had been to our house a few times and she always came with long eyelashes, short skirts. Once, she even made a comment about how many boyfriends she's had. Her flashy appearance and lifestyle were the exact opposite of my simple and innocent daughter's. They became close after being in the same class during their third year. Initially, I was glad that my introverted daughter had found a good friend. But now I just hope she isn't being negatively influenced. I swallowed a sigh. I can't interfere too much with her relationships. That would be overstepping my boundaries. Besides, she has only half a year left of her student life. I want her to live it without any regrets. With those thoughts in mind, I put away the dinner I had prepared for her in the freezer. And home. At that moment, the third member of our household finally returned home. Welcome back. Dinner's ready. I moved to reheat another plate in the microwave. I don't need it today. I had a business dinner. I could smell alcohol on his breath. Entertainment again at a hostess bar? Can't help it. It's part of the job when you're in sales. It's normal. But isn't it a bit too much? You're going twice a week, aren't you? I knew it. After all, every time I clean my husband's room, flyers from hostess bars turn up in the trash can. What's with the nagging? I come home in a good mood and you start on me. If I stop doing these entertainments and my sales drop, and then my salary goes down, are you going to take responsibility for that? Well, keep it down, you're bothering the neighbors. That's when my daughter appeared with a towel on her head, taking out drinking yogurt from the fridge as she spoke. Sorry, is the bath free now? Then I'll take a turn. With that, my daughter went to the bedroom, my husband went to the bath, and I was alone again. I took a plate out of the microwave and opened the freezer again. There's no more room. As the freezer overflowed, so did my frustrations. Is this what family is supposed to be? Am I asking for too much? That's right. I must be asking for too much. There's no dramatic infidelity or emotional abuse like in those satisfying social media videos. Surely I'm living a peaceful life. With that thought, I forcefully closed the freezer. There it's shut. Tomorrow I'll cook dinner, again without fail. Perhaps it was because of my resolve that day. Gradually our family began to change. The flyers from the hostess bars stopped appearing in my husband's trash can, and my daughter started coming home earlier than before. Mom's meatloaf after so long is delicious. It's incomparable to the food court. Smiling shyly with my daughter, my cheeks relaxed too. Yeah, I'm glad to hear that. But what about Laura recently? Aren't you two hanging out? Well, she's still going out. But apparently she's been busy with, sugar dating at night. Sugar dating? Yeah, she gets free meals from her sugar daddy. Is that so? Wait, didn't Laura have a boyfriend? She has one. Really? I was taken aback by my daughter's shocking revelation and couldn't keep up with the conversation. However, I felt relieved that she wasn't involved in such activities and was coming home in the evenings as usual. Dad's not coming home soon, right? I want to watch yesterday's anime on the streaming service before I take a bath. Setting down her chopsticks and making a small prayer gesture, my daughter said that. Yes, I think he'll be back around 9 p.m. as usual. Got it? If he comes home early, let me know. I definitely want to get in the bath before Dad does. Alright, understood. I watched my daughter's back as she headed to her room. Dinner time with just my daughter and me. A seemingly ordinary time, but it was a very happy moment. The extra space in the freezer gave me some peace of mind. However, thinking about it now, maybe it wasn't peace of mind, but rather complacency. At that time, I was overlooking something, where my husband, who had stopped going to the hostess bars he was spending his time and money. The first sign that things were starting to go awry was a particular incident. One late night, I woke up and headed to the restroom. It's already past autumn and into winter. I shouldn't have left the window open. Walking stealthily through the dark corridor, trying not to wake up my husband or daughter, I saw a shadow moving just like me, right before I reached my destination. Grace? When I called out, the shadow shivered. Wait, Laura? Yes, it was my daughter's friend. Why are you here? Where's Grace? She's in the room. Well, let's go to the room for now. I listened to the full story in my daughter's room. Apparently, Laura was out late near our house and missed the last train. She couldn't contact her family or boyfriend, so she sought help and came to our place. My daughter's room is on the first floor, so Laura was able to enter through the window. You could have just told me, you know? Why all the secrecy? I'm sorry, I thought you'd be mad. Of course I'd be upset. It's the middle of the night, but sneaking someone in without saying anything would make me even angrier. Anyway, it's late now. Just go to sleep. First thing in the morning, you need to contact your parents. Okay? Understood. I left my daughter's room with a heavy heart. Beyond anger, I felt a deep sadness. It's far too dangerous for a young girl to walk alone in the middle of the night in our residential area, which isn't particularly well lit. It was fortunate nothing happened this time. But if this behavior continues, who knows what might happen in the future. My daughter might also get involved in something dangerous. I held my head in my hands. Before I knew it, the morning sun had risen. Naturally, I didn't feel like I'd gotten much sleep. Somehow, I managed to drag myself up to make breakfast for my husband and see him off. I want to talk about it, but after he comes back from work and as I was cleaning up my husband's dishes, eventually the girls woke up. Laura, did you manage to get in touch with your parents? Yes, I'm sorry for causing trouble. I'm sorry. The two of them headed to school, seeming repentant. That night, I brought up the issue with my husband as soon as he came home. It's about Grace. What's up all of a sudden? Recently, she's been hanging out with friends who are a bit flashy. There's this girl named Laura she's close with and, well, that child is a bit wild. My husband stopped in his tracks. Grace is in her room. She'll hear you. Then my husband muttered under his breath, well, I mean, she is certainly flashy. Did you know Laura Hans? I asked suddenly, and my husband seemed to be caught off guard. No. I mean, I just happened to see her with Grace a while ago. That's all. Oh, okay. It's just that, as a parent, I'd rather she not hang out with that kind of girl. Well, I guess it's okay. What? His response felt careless, so I retorted, come on, think about it more seriously. He then raised his voice. Why are you being so nosy? It's just a friendship. Lay off. But what if something dangerous happens to Grace because of that girl? I don't know. She's your daughter. What if Grace and Laura have a fight? It'd be awkward. What do you mean? Just leave it. I'm gonna take a bath. With that, my husband quickly headed to the bathroom, escaping the conversation. I felt a strange unease. He seemed so familiar when mentioning my daughter's friend. He claimed it was a chance encounter, but Grace never told me about any such meeting. And what did he mean about it being awkward if they fought? What's going on? The next day, those nagging feelings crystallized into a shocking revelation right before my eyes. What is this? While cleaning my husband's room as usual, I stumbled upon something unbelievable. Why is this here? It was a receipt from a pharmacy. The purchased item was a pregnancy test. The date was yesterday. Why would he need something like this? Finding a nightclub hostess's business card would have been 1,000 times better. I was in turmoil. I couldn't concentrate on anything. I needed to confront my husband as soon as possible. Surprisingly, he came home earlier than our daughter. What is this? I demanded as soon as I saw him. What's that? Upon glancing at the tiny receipt, the color drained from his face. No, you see, what is going on? It's not what you think. A colleague from work asked me to buy it for him. That's impossible. It's the truth. You're lying. We continued to argue back and forth, our voices raised. Then at that moment, what is this? Our daughter muttered, holding the receipt. In the midst of the chaos, I hadn't even realized she had returned. The next second, she let out words that were beyond belief. Hey, is this about Laura? What? The room was filled with a deafening silence. For some reason, our daughter, who had never looked so serious, seemed void of any emotion. What happened? What does this mean? My voice trembled, struggling to find the words. Answer me. It's about Laura, isn't it? She demanded, her face still emotionless. My husband, intimidated by our daughter's intensity, silently nodded. Unable to grasp the situation, our daughter began to speak slowly. Laura's sugar daddy was my dad. Today, I was told that she might be pregnant because of their relationship. She sent me a photo of the pregnancy test result. At first, she was vague, but when I pressed her, she said it was my dad. Laura and my dad, you both knew about it, right? My father and my friend. I don't consider such a person a friend anymore. My daughter's face clouded over as she added that last part. I was in utter shock. The world seemed to darken before my eyes. I couldn't think straight. Then my husband's defense. Defensively, my husband said, "We didn't know it was each other at first. I only became interested in being a sugar daddy after hearing about the nightclub hostesses, and by chance, I matched with Laura. We realized who each other were while making small talk. I felt my temper rise at his nonchalant attitude. I don't understand your justification. It's not something you do on a whim." My husband continued unabashedly, "It's not a big deal. It's no different from going to hostess bars." I wanted to lash back, but I held back, trying to focus on the main issue. Even if I give you the benefit of the doubt about being a sugar daddy, once you both realized who the other was, why continue the relationship to this extent? It can't be helped, right? She said she liked my face and was interested in married men. What? Gross. Besides, I used protection. She came on to me. So it's not my fault, right? I was left speechless at his brazenness. Suddenly, my daughter, who had been expressionless until now, broke into a sly grin and said, "Well, good for you, huh?" What? Laura's married, you know? What? Huh? She got married to her boyfriend on her 18th birthday. So it's double adultery, meaning double the compensation. Congratulations, haha. What do you mean? I wasn't informed. She probably didn't tell you. By the looks of it, you didn't hear about her abortion either, did you? What? An abortion? Stop acting like it's someone else's problem. If you knew, you should have told me. Why should I help you out? Do you know how much I've been bossed around by Laura and how much I've suffered because of her? What? I always hoped she'd get her comeuppance someday. So that's how it was. Yay! My daughter and I looked at each other with teary eyes. What's gonna happen to me? The pathetic voice of my husband intruded. What do you want? Always blaming someone else. It was the hostess, it was Laura, it was Grace, and now what will happen to me? Think for yourself, Grace. Let's go. You don't want to stay with such a disgusting person, do you? I don't even want to see his face anymore. You can't be serious. After that, we grabbed only our valuables and hastily left the house. Later on, my husband and I officially divorced. I demanded $32,000 from my ex-husband and $14,000 from my daughter's friend as compensation. Moreover, what my daughter had said was true. Her friend was indeed married. Hence, my ex-husband was apparently being claimed for compensation from that side as well. It seems my daughter had exposed the pregnancy test result with a photo on an anonymous SNS account, leading the friend's husband to confront her. Upon pressing her, he traced back to my ex-husband. The friend's husband turned out to be from a somewhat intimidating background. My ex-husband seems to have faced severe consequences as a group. A group of menacing individuals approached his family home and left him in both physical and emotional tatters. Upon learning of the full situation, my in-laws visited to apologize and shared the entire story with us. However, with the compensation money, we were able to move to a new home. I am sorry for all the trouble. No, I should have consulted with you. I have now realized that if I don't voice my feelings, the only one who loses is me. My daughter replied, her face full of newfound confidence. Grace, let's move forward in our lives, just the two of us, I said. As our eyes met, filled with a strong bond of understanding, we opened the door to our new home. Thank you for watching the video all the way to the end. If you resonated with the content, please leave a positive rating and a comment.